Hello, this is Ron and Ron's Living Room, Ron's T-Bone Shed Show. Hey, we're going to do show and tell tonight. Got some horns in that I never bothered to share with you. Maybe some of them I did, but I'm going to share them with you and I'm going to play them a little bit for you. I think you might find these some interesting. Some kind of new, some kind of not new. Let me show you what I've got. Here's 4 horns here. Horn number 1. Horn number 2, horn number 3, and horn number 4. So what are we looking at here? Well, the first one's kind of pretty. You can kind of guess how old it is. Okay, there's no slide lock. It's friction fit, but check out this bell. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, that's right. It's a York. Grand Rapids, Michigan. I don't know if that's gold inlay or what, but it sure is pretty. Okay, so to the best of my knowledge from what I can read on the horn, this is a 1913, I believe, because the serial number says 3576 and then something I can't really see. If it was just 3576, that'd be like 1900. I don't think this is a 1900 horn. I would bet it's probably 1913, so I probably can't see that last letter. So I'm going to play on this one for you. It's a 470 bore, which in that day was considered a small bore. Today, of course, small bores range between 481 and 500, but 470, which is kind of like a large bore trumpet. So yeah, 7-inch bell, nice flare. It's kind of conical. If you look at the tuning crook, it gets larger as it goes around, which was pretty significant in that day. Okay, next horn up here I recently got. This is a 1964 Martin Magna. Now, I showed you a Magna I had before. That ended up being a mid-bore, a 525. This Martin Magna is a 500 bore with an 8-inch bell and a rose brass bell. Martin Magna. Let's take a look here. If you can read, there we go. Martin Magna, Elkhart, Indiana. Okay, so I did some research. I'd never heard of the Magna for a long time, and then I discovered the Magna. The Magna was the top of the line Martin. Okay, a lot of people thought it was the Committee. Well, here's the thing. The Magna line started about 1956, so it didn't start with Martin back in the early 1900s. This was a late entry. So 1956 to 1971, when LeBlanc bought it, they pretty much killed all the names and titles of all their horns, of all the Martins. In 1971, they went to the TR series, which they shared with Holton. So before this, the Dansant Handcraft, those were the pro horns of the early 1900s. Then you fast forward to 1939 when they introduced the Committee line. But prior to that, you had the Martin Indiana, which was, I think that was an acquisition of the Martin Indian or Indiana. Anyway, that was considered the student line. Then you had the Martin Imperial, which I believe might have been named to keep the English from exporting horns to the U.S. I don't know. But that's a really spectacular horn. That was considered an intermediate horn, but I mean, it's as good as anything I've ever played. I don't have one out, but I'll do my Martin presentation here in a little bit. With my collection. So after the Imperial, you had the Martin Committees. Now the Martin Committee trumpet is actually quite lauded as a pretty special pro-level trumpet. So the Martin Committee line went from, let me see here, 1939 to 1971. And then in the middle of that run, the Magna was introduced in 1956 to 1961. So the Magna was a superior horn to the Committee. The Committee was known to be the competitor to the King 2B, the Con 6, 4H, and the Box 6. But if you look at it, it's these very simple lines. This is a non-adjustable brace, and this is a non-adjustable brace, and these are solid braces. And this is a non-adjustable brace, unlike most horns which have adjustable braces. Like those are adjustable, these are adjustable, and even these weird ones are adjustable. But not the Martins. The Martins had non-adjustable braces. The only other time I've seen a non-adjustable brace was actually the hand brace on an Olds Ambassador. But see, the slide has adjustable braces. So it's kind of bizarre. 500 bore. So I do have a committee. I didn't bring that out. I'll probably pause this and I'll put one out here on the end. Now this horn, this is a very special horn to me. In fact, it's called the Special. This was the second Special that Holton made. So this one is a 1966 TR-501 Special. Now when you look for these online, they all say they're 500 bores, but I own two of these and both of them are not 500s. They're like 484. 483, they're right in there in that King 2B range, and I will tell you that this horn responds like a King 2B. I mean, it's crazy. And it's the only Holton I know that has a little mohawk weight on the top, since like the Getsons do. Yellow brass bell on this, nickel all the way across the top and down the side like you would see with a lot of the olds, like the old Super, the old recordings, and yellow brass bell. What did I said that already? I think these are nickel slides. But I'm going to play this one. This is a screamer. Okay, so when I got this horn, the bottom tube wasn't too good. And I had bought a replacement tube for my Jigs Wiggum 2B, which is a 491. Well, the 491 fit on this horn and it fit in the slide. So I inadvertently turned this into like a 2B slide. So it's about a 481 to a 482 on the top, and it's a 491 on the bottom. And it's crazy good. And the outer slide, fits both. I mean, it's what came with the horn. So I don't know what's original on, I've never seen a 500 TR-501 Special. I've only seen the low 400s. I'm pretty sure it's 481, 482 right here. It might not even be 484. And then, of course, down here, you've seen this one before, but I don't know that I played it for you. This is the 1937 New Professional, and on the bell it says Revelation. Let me see if we can see that there. I think we talked about this one already. It's kind of hard to read. The etching is really pretty, but again, no slide lock. It's got the curved hand brace, which is kind of cool. It's got the curved braces, and then there's the tuning mechanism right there. So it's an in-bell tuning, but it's most of the top end of the bell. The cool thing is that it's not conical. It's not cylindrical. It's conical, so it expands all the way around here, and it keeps expanding until it hits this joint, and it just keeps expanding. So, maybe for the day and age, it was more of a conical trombone, but only a 7-inch bell. So, and then the slide is a dual bore. Now, I have two, which have two different bores. My first, no, actually, this one's the 495 501.5. My first one was a 478 498. So I'm not sure what the standard dual bore slide is, but this one, it's kind of big on the bottom, and at 495, I mean, it's relatively large bore. And as promised, the Martin Committee. This particular one is from 1948. I don't think I've ever talked about this one. When I first got out of high school, we used to have a classifieds thing out here called the Penny Saver. And so this was back in 1983, 82. So I was looking for a trombone for myself, because when I left high school, I didn't have the school horn, and I had to give back my teacher, his name's Gary Smighton, I had to give back his dad's horn that he loaned me. Studio in the 70s was also just single 500 bore. Anyway, this one from 1948, I bought this from a gentleman who's in the jazz history book. His full name was Edward Kosborski, but better known as Ed Cusby. He played professional trombone in the 40s and 50s. He played with Lloyd Uliate and a whole bunch of guys on their recordings back in the day. But when I met him, he was already 88 years old back in like 1983. And he says, I don't play anymore. And this was the horn I played in the NBC radio orchestra. I played lead on it. I got to fix that little ding here. I think my son dinged the horn. Anyway, I had this refinished. Usually you get these in, they're sort of a really olivey color, but way back in the late 80s, I had it refinished through a music store who gave it to Allied to do that. So this was the 2B killer of the day. Okay, so this, the 2B, the Holton 65, the Con 4H, and this one, the Martin Committee. These were all the small bore horns of the time. The Holton 65 was also low fours, I think 41, 42. But let me get this set up, and we'll sit here and we'll play each one for you. Okay. All right, we're going to start with the 1913 J.W. York with a beautiful inlay on the bell. I just put a little bit of lube on it. It doesn't take a lot. Unusually, it gets gummy too fast with regular lube. I had to kill some of the overhead lights. I was getting a glare. So we're going to start with this one. Here we go. It's the 470 bore. I found the best mouthpiece that works on this is actually my Olds. My Olds, what is this? This is an Olds 8. But Olds mouthpieces work great on these small bore horns. It's got a really beautiful focus. I love, the day everybody was doing the pebble finish and the gold flashing on the inside. This is no exception. And for a horn in 1913, this is in tremendous condition. Apparently it was a family heirloom. And, I just found them on, I think it might have been OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace, but I just said, hey, I'd like to buy that horn. And they made arrangements. They're kind of missionaries. They were out in the Africa dealing with the genocide and all that crap out there. But yeah, they're back now. Anyway, so here's for the 1913 York. York made some really cool horns back then. I'm more privy to the Yorks from the 1950s, which have that larger, more cone-shaped bell and gives you that really quick response, that dark throaty sound. These were very different back before that era. For the Martin Magna, so this is the 1964. It's the year I was born. But this horn looks pretty spectacular for its age. Yeah, that's all. Funny, that's the name of the tune. All right, here we go. That's good. It's got such a clear, focused, and warm tone. I'm pretty sure it's the rose brass that really warms that up. But I could see why this was considered the pro horn of the day. I mean, it's pretty spectacular. The 1966 Holton TR-501 Special, now a dual bore. I'm going to be playing this on with my Holton 12C, which is much screamier than most 12Cs. You can already hear it's bright, especially with this mouthpiece. I suppose I'd get a darker sound if I had a slightly larger mouthpiece. Let's go back to my my Mount Vernon 11 here. It slots so nice up there, it's crazy. So if you ever find one of these, a TR-501 Special Holton, it's a 2B competitor. I mean, it's as quick and responsive as any Silversonic I've ever played. And I've played them too. And let's go straight to the Martin Committee here, the Ed Cusby horn thing here. And I'm going to be playing this actually on the mouthpiece that came with it. This is the Martin 1. These are kind of cool. You can tell just by looking at them that's a Martin, just the way it cuts down here to the shank. Yeah. Yeah. It's also spectacular. Noticeably smaller bore from the 500, because that the Magna 500, that's the bore of the 6H. This is the bore of the 2B. And so between, it's a toss-up. This is a little darker and warmer and fatter than the Holton. That Holton's a scream machine. That 501 Special. Oh my goodness. So if you need some decibels and you want some high frequencies and you want to make some dogs bark, that would be the horn. Last but not least, the new Professional, the Holton 60. Holton, that's the counterweight here, and this is literally where you tune the horn. Here, look, watch. Look at this. See that? I can pull the slide out, or I can turn the slide in, just with that little nut right there. It says you can do it with your thumb, but there's no way my thumb's getting up there unless it's some freakish alien thumb that can get way up there. But so after trying several mouthpieces, I'm finding the one that responds best on this horn, again, is the darn Olds 8. I don't know what it is. The center lights up. The slotting becomes clearer. So here we go. Still haven't found the perfect mouthpiece for it yet, because it still feels a little thin here and there. But it's about as close as it gets with the Olds 8 here. I'll probably find the right mouthpiece at some point in time, but my right mouthpiece isn't going to be your right mouthpiece. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this episode where we talked about each of these trombones. Let's go back over them again. We're here. We have the 1948 Martin Committee, belonged to Ed Cusby, jazz professional. We have the 1937 Holton, the new Professional, also known as the Revelation, dual bore. We have the 1966 Holton TR-501 Special Screamer is what I'm going to call it. Currently a dual bore. Right now it's a 2B killer. Now we have the 1964 Martin Magna 500 bore. And this is sweet, creamy, dark, and a nice clear tone. Martin's top of the line in the day. And then last but not least, the old lady here, the 1913 York. I don't know what else it is. Maybe it's a York 18, but it's the 470 bore, which they considered a small bore, not a medium bore of the day. So anyway, I had turned the lights down low. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. These were some really spectacular horns. I'm not planning to put any of them up for sale right now, but I do have some more coming up for sale. Some more Getsons, some more Cons. So till we meet again, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.